What's up YouTube? My name's Mike, my channel's MDH5169. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're going to talk about Corvettes, and specifically we're going to talk about my 2016 Z06 Corvette. Now I guess I kind of have to give a little bit of credit to my mom for really getting me into Corvettes, because my mom was a Corvette, I wouldn't say fanatic, but she really liked them. That was her dream car. I remember her talking about them when I was a kid. So in 1982 I was actually at school hanging out with my friend Eric. We were on, and so we see a silver Corvette pull up in the parking lot, and I remember looking over and telling Eric, oh, somebody's got a nice vet. And Eric points and he says, that's your mom. And I said, my mom doesn't own a Corvette. And he's like, that is your mom. Sure enough, my mom gets out of the driver's side of the car. And what had happened was my stepfather had seen a 1978 Silver Anniversary Corvette sitting on the lot at Smith Chevrolet. Actually, I think it was sitting in their indoor showroom. And so he decided to go get it and let my mom take it out for a day. So anyway, my parents ended up buying that Corvette, and I remember thinking when I was a kid, my mom took me for a little drive there, you know, right there in front of the school. We pulled out and all my friends were out on recess, and I remember thinking how cool it was to be in this car. So anyway, they ended up buying it. Of course, it's a two-seater, so I do have memories of sitting in the back hatch of the car, you know, laying there as we're driving around and going out and showing the car off and everything like that. But my parents ended up keeping the car until about 2007, I think it was, when they finally sold it. So I drove the car quite a bit. I had a lot of experience with it. And as I got older, I remember thinking, you know, the car really wasn't that fast. It was okay, but everybody knows mid-70s were horrible for any car. I think it was like 185 horsepower or something like that. So it was a rough riding car, and I remember my parents putting a lot of money into keeping the air conditioning working. It just never seemed to work right. So I didn't have a very high opinion of Corvettes. So one day I'm out and about and I'm bored, and I'm over by our local Ford dealership, and I see a 2005 red Corvette sitting on the lot, and I decide I want to take it for a drive. So of course this is the LS2 motor. It was an automatic, and I take off down the road and stepped into it and realized, okay, Corvette's come a long way. I like Corvettes. I want a Corvette now. So I ended up buying a 2000, a C5, and that was my very first Corvette. And since that time, I have owned two C4s. I've owned three C5s, one being a Z06, a C6 Corvette, and now this C7 Corvette. I have to say, out of all of them, this is my favorite car. It definitely, I mean, I was impressed with the way the very first Corvette handled with the LS1 and 350 horsepower. This car is a supercharged 6.2 liter, developing 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque. The car is amazing, and aside from just the fact that it's very fast in a straight line, it also handles very well. It's actually a pretty comfortable riding car. It's pretty spacious and roomy inside. The trunk has plenty of room. If two people want to throw a suitcase in or two suitcases in and go on a little trip, they can. And the car with the 7-speed manual will get very good gas mileage. I mean, up around 28 miles to the gallon on the highway, and who can beat that? The car has features that I probably don't need to go into. A lot of you guys probably know more about the features on this car than I do, because I just haven't used all the features. It never ceases to amaze me. I mean, it's got a G meter to tell you your acceleration, how many G's you're pulling the acceleration, around corners. It's got the different modes that you can set, like your track mode, sport mode, and touring mode, which adjusts the exhaust sound. It adjusts the suspension, the steering. It'll come up and tell you the speed limit on whatever road you're driving along, and if you're exceeding it, it'll give you a little warning. It's just an amazing car. The sound system is incredible. I love it. This is the 2LZ package, so it's not the top of the line, but it does have the three forward-facing cameras. It has the rear camera, it has navigation, it has the heads-up display. It's I love the car, I do, and I wasn't planning on buying a C7. I was just going to hang out with my C6. I liked my C6. It was a great riding, running, driving car. But I went to Smith Chevrolet one day, and again, kind of bored, ended up driving a Z06, C7 Z06 automatic, and I was hooked. After that, I was looking and trying to find it, trying to find one, and actually found this one over in Concord. I love the color combination. I think the white looks great. I think the red and black interior in this thing looks great, and it's definitely a cool car. Now, that being said, I have put this thing on Craigslist. I am open to do a trade, and the only trade I'm looking for is a C6 ZR1 preferably, or a C6 Z06, and I would want some cash difference. And the reason that I am considering doing that, and just considering, is that to me this is a lot of money to have tied up into one vehicle when I don't drive it very much. So, you know, if I can have a little cash in my pocket, maybe for another tour or whatever, and still have a really cool Corvette in my shop, then I would do it. But it's got to be the right deal, and so far the right deal has not surfaced. So that being said, I love the car. I'll keep the car. If I have to keep the car, I have absolutely no problems with it. It looks good from every angle. You know, I was a little on the fence about these new Corvettes when they first came out, and the rear tail lights, but I really like them, and especially the Z06 with the wider fenders and the 335s on the back. It just is a badass looking car. It looks fast sitting still, and it is very fast in a straight line and around corners. It does everything very well. So with that being said, let's take this thing out for a little ride. The mic in the car when I was doing the driving didn't pick up the audio very well, and I am trying to get a lapel mic to work with my GoPro Hero 5, but I'm having some difficulties with that. So until I get all that figured out, I figured I would just show you this track of the car that I took from the outside, and I would talk a little bit about it as we drive along. So like I keep saying, I can't really speak highly enough about the car. It is a lot of fun to drive. Like I said, I've owned all the other Corvettes before. As I said, the C4s, which, I mean, the C4s are just, they are what they are. But the C5s and the C6 were really great cars. Now, this being a 7-speed manual, I can only compare it to my manual Z06, which is a C5, and then my manual C6. I can say the C6 manual transmission shifted very, very well, shifted very smoothly, just like this one. It shifts very, very smoothly. The C5 was a little bit more notchy. I did have a short shifter put in it, and that did help a little bit, made it a little bit faster shifting. But really, I think they improved upon the transmission in the C6 and especially the C7. Now, this car being a 7-speed manual, you get it in 7th gear, you can cruise down the freeway 75 miles an hour and tack about 1,500 RPM, and that's where your gas mileage really comes into play. It's a lot of fun. For me, it's really as much power as I need. I was reading an article some time back, and I know these cars dyno about 585 with the rear wheel, so they're very efficient to put power to the ground. Now, the article I read said that I think they took and they put a different upper pulley, cold air intake, and then did a tune on the car, and they got 660 real horsepower. So that's well over 700 crank, and that's just all kinds of power. I mean, even at the stock 650 with the stock tires on it, it is very difficult to put the power to the ground. It's very difficult to get it to hook up in the first couple of gears. Traction control does kind of want to take over, and I will throw some clips at the end of the acceleration. You might not be able to hear the audio very well, but I'll throw some clips in of me accelerating with it, and you can see it gets up very, very fast. Actually, the first time I got the car, I was still kind of getting familiar with it. I took it out and was kind of getting into it, and I think I was probably about the top of 4th gear, maybe 5th gear, and without throwing an actual number at you guys, I was actually about 3 times the maximum speed limit. So it does get up there very, very quickly. It will definitely get into triple digits very fast. And like I said, the car is still a great daily driver. It's something that you can take out, you can drive it back and forth to work, get pretty decent mileage, have a very cool car, ride around in comfort and enjoy, but you can still take it to a track if you wanted to. You could still take it out, you know, drag race it if you want to, and pull some very respectable times. So to me, that's just very impressive. A car that can do that is very impressive. I think Corvettes have come a long way. They've always been great cars, but really, since the C5s, I think that they have come a long way and become great sports cars, and they really are America's sports car. So like I said, you see driving along, the roads are very, very bumpy, so the camera's kind of moving around a little bit, but it is the road quality. I promise you, once you get on the freeway or get out on a smooth road, it does smooth out quite a bit. So, you know, anybody who's thinking about buying one, if you can afford it, I mean, obviously the C7s are great cars. I'm not a huge fan of the Stingrays. They're nice looking cars, and they're nice cars. I haven't really driven one, but I don't know, there's just something when the Z06 came out with a wider stance, the bigger rear tires. That's what I fell in love with, and I figured if I were going to step up to a C7, that's what I was going to get. So, but seriously, if you're looking for a great performance car and best bang for the buck, C5 Corvette, LS1, 350 horsepower, you can't go wrong. If you want to step it up a little bit more, I mean, you can get the C5 for around 10 grand for a decent one. If you want to step it up and go with a Z06, then you're going to pay under 20, and you can get a fairly low mileage one in good shape that will get up and do all kinds of performance for you, and then a few bolt-ons and you get even more. So they're great cars. So with that, guys, I'm gonna cut the video here. I'll throw in a little bit of driving video, but then we'll cut back to getting it home at the shop. The maximum 55 mile an hour speed limit right there. All right, guys, back at the shop. That's basically going to wrap up this video. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I didn't go into a lot of the details about the car, so anybody who's watching these videos probably has already done their research on the Z06. But if you want more information, I would be happy to talk to you about it, or even do a more in-depth video on it. You know, the car only had 1,900 miles when I bought it. I just looked at it, and it's like 2,250 miles. So obviously I don't drive it a lot. I've had it close to a year, but a lot of fun. Corvettes are fun. I mean, they are. They're just fun cars. I'm glad I gave them a chance. I'm glad I test drove that one day, and I'm always been very proud to own any of the Corvettes that I have, and I will continue to own them as long as I can get in and out of them and drive them, which really isn't too difficult. This is a pretty easy car to get in and out of. So with that, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. Hit the little bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. And with that, thanks for watching and have a great day. God bless.